Okay, today I'm going to cover a few more specifics about the paper that I expect you to write in this class and methods in terms of how to get the data and how to put it together. I'm going to start with the literature review. I mentioned in class that you definitely need to have a literature review. What do I mean by that? Well, a literature review is simply a review of previous literature. One of the best ways to do this is with Google, and more specifically Google Scholar. If you go to www.google.com/scholar, it will take you to Google Scholar as you see it here, and this looks up academic research on different topics. So I'm going to make a topic up off the top of my head. Let's say I'm going to do this because this is kind of similar to how you guys will write a paper, so I want you to see the process of me maybe struggling to find some data. Let's say I want to know how state economic factors impact the number of new businesses started in a state. Okay, so I'm interested in writing about entrepreneurship. All right, so then in Google Scholar I might type determinants of business starts. Let's see what I get here. Okay, so I'm going to get a bunch of different papers here. I mean, you can see I have 146,000 results up here. They should all be academic papers and articles. But I'm going to point out a few cool things about Google Scholar to you. But the first thing we're going to do is try to find a paper that seems similar to what we're looking at. And I actually see one down here, right here, like business survival and success of young small business owners. Okay, that's kind of similar because it says it's relevant to investigate and understand individual determinants of business survival. Okay, so a few things about Google Scholar. Where you see that where it says PDF over here on the right hand side, that means that there is a PDF version on the internet. This is a beautiful thing, okay? Basically what Google does is it sends out its little Google spiders all over the internet, and if someone has saved this PDF somewhere online, maybe it's for their class, maybe it's their own paper and they saved it on their website, whatever it is, it will be listed here. So if I click on this PDF, we should get the paper. Here it is. Now normally you have to have sorry, who knows what's doing there. Normally you have to have a journal subscription to be able to read the full text of these papers, so this is actually really nice, okay? All right, so that's the first thing. You want to look kind of for papers that have a PDF version, otherwise you may not be able to see it. But here's the really cool thing about Google Scholar. So this paper is written in 2003, so it's relatively old now, it's not new. But down here it shows you how many papers have cited this. So there are 347 papers in Google Scholar that have this paper listed as a reference. Okay, so I can click on this and all of those papers come up. Okay, this is pretty cool stuff. So you can basically kind of trace a path backwards or forwards, right? If you find a brand new paper, you can go into that paper and look at, like, let's see here. Let me give you an example. Let's find a new one that seems somewhat reasonable. So let's say here is, here's a 2013 paper. So let's say that this paper seemed relevant to me. There's a PDF of it. I can open that. And I can go to the end and I can see their list of papers that they cite, right? So maybe some of these would be relevant to me. So I can go backwards. That's what I mean, you can do a path backwards or forwards. I can go backwards and see who they cite. But I can also go in here, and this has already been cited by 56 papers, which is a lot in just 2 years. I can click on this and see who has cited it. Okay? All right, so that is how you should work on your literature review. Some of you will probably write about things that there is not academic literature on, or there is not much academic literature. In that case, you can do a Google search for articles related to it. So newspaper articles, magazine articles, things like that. One thing though that I want to caution you on, especially because those of you that are in my management class as well, I've read some of the papers and I've seen this is a problem already. This is academic work, so it should be as unbiased as possible. It's okay to state your opinion, but you have to present the material in an unbiased way because it's an academic paper. This is not something you're writing to letter to the editor of a newspaper. So you need to make sure if you use newspapers or magazines that you do not use sources from organizations that have an agenda. What do I mean by that? You know, if it is a very biased source politically, you probably should not use it. You can usually tell this by going to the About Us tab or something like Our Values tab or whatever it is. You know, it of course is okay to use mainstream newspapers, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post. Certainly things like Time Magazine, Newsweek, things like that, National Geographic. But if you're using something that has a political tilt, you need to be very, very, very careful, okay? And you cannot present that as fact because in most cases, the biased materials are not completely truthful, okay? It's just the way it is. The truth usually lies somewhere in the middle, right? Okay, so that's your literature review. If you have any questions on that, please, please, please let me know. Okay. All right. So let's say we find some literature and we decide, yes, this is what we're going to do. We need to build an Excel spreadsheet. Just opened up a brand new one here. And my level of analysis in this case, let's scoot this over just a little bit. My level of analysis in this case is going to be the state. Remember I said that you need at least 30 observations. When we use states, we automatically have 50. So that works out really nicely. And I'm going to use business starts. These are just the number of businesses started in a community as my dependent variable. Your dependent variable is what you're trying to predict, right? This is your Y. It needs to go in that second column when you're setting up your spreadsheet beside your level of your unit of analysis, so here, the state. All right, so what do I think might impact the number of businesses that are started? I'm going to try to pick things that I can find data on, all right? Now, we're going to go out to the internet and search in a minute and see. There may be something I think I can get data on that I can't, and I have to kind of change things a bit. But let's say that I believe unemployment rates. So unemployment rate, let's say for my second, we need to have at least 4, right? Maybe for my second one, I think percent with bachelor's degree. You do not have to have long titles like these. I'm just doing that so it's easy for you guys to understand what I'm doing. So how many businesses are started? So unemployment rate, percent with a bachelor's degree or higher. Let's say GSP, that's gross state product. That's the state equivalent to GDP. And then let's say for the last one, I want to do whether or not a state is unionized, okay? Whether or not they allow for unionized labor. All right, so I've got to go out and find this, right? So I'm going to open up a new Google screen, and the first thing I'm going to look for is my dependent variable, because the other data that I want to get, the data that I use, is going to depend on what data I can find for my dependent variable. Okay, this is my variable of interest. So I'm going to go to the Small Business Administration and data. Okay. First thing that comes up is their website. Here we go. And business data and statistics. Okay, sometimes these things can be a little hard to navigate, but we're going to hope that is not the case here. So I'm going to click on general business statistics. Let's see here. Statistical abstract of the United States. The statistical abstract of the United States, it comes from the census. It has tons of very, very, very good data. It is on about a 2.5 year lag. So like the most recent one here is 2012. It looks like, let me see if that's correct. Yeah, it appears to be. Okay. So business is one of them. And it looks like I can look at all different sorts of things. I maybe want to look at establishments. Firm births and deaths. Let's see here. I want it by state. I can get bankruptcy by state, and it looks like I can get, let's look at this firm births and deaths and see if by chance it's by state. No, it's not. Ooh, so I see a problem already with this data. This data is from 2008, even though this is a 2012 statistical abstract. See how old this data is? 2008. I don't want this. Nope. We'll go back. This is exactly why I did this off the top of my head, because you will run into issues like this, okay? Let's go to statistics of U.S. businesses. I don't know exactly what this is, but let's see here. Number of firms, number of establishments, employment, annual payout, payroll, and estimated receipts. Here we go. Employment change data. This is what I want. Okay, here we go. I like it. All right, so here is the data I want. It has the establishment births right here. This is specifically what I'm looking for. Yep, all right. So, few things that are going to be difficult here that I already noticed. Look at the left-hand side. First of all, this is not sorted by state. I want it to be sorted by state, and it has different businesses of different employment sizes, like 1 to 4, 5 to 9, etc., broken down, and what I want is total. So here's what we're going to do. If you've never done this before, I'm going to show you how to do it right now, okay? We are going to select all this data, and in this case, because the headers are complicated, I'm just going to select the data itself and leave out the headers. Oops. No, 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 no. Okay. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sort this data so you can go, I'm going to try to expand this where you can see it better. You can go to data, sort, okay? And we want to sort, we're going to have 2 levels. First, we want to sort by column C, and then we're going to add a level, so that's the employment size, and then we're going to add a level and sort by column B, which is the states, okay? So sort by column C, then by column B, and then I'm going to hit OK. And now it is in the way I want it to be, okay? So now I have all the totals together, which is what I want. Except there's a few issues here. If you look, there are 56, it looks like, with totals. Why is that? Well, there's some things in here we want to take out. Let's see. First of all, we want to take out this row for the United States. I don't want that total. And then I also want to take out the District of Columbia up here. I don't want that included. It's not a state, right? The District of DC works differently than other places because it's not a state. All right, so now if I highlight from Wyoming and go all the way up to Alabama, I should have 50. Yay, I do. Okay. All right, so now first things first, I need all the state names in my file, right? So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to highlight these, right-click, copy. And then I'm going to go into my new, where my states are, and I'm going to paste. Okay, so now I have that in there. And then I want these business starts, right? And this is for 2012. And I want this number of establishment births. So I'm going to highlight that data, right-click, copy, go here to my other file, and put in paste. I'm also checking to make sure under format cells, let me go out and show you this. If you right click and go to format cells, you can make sure it's in there as a number. That's important. Sometimes it'll be there as general and that can cause some issues, but it is as a number. All right. So this is where we are so far, right? We've got our level of analysis. We got our business starts. Now that we know this is 2012 data, we need to make sure to get 2012 data for all of these others as well, okay? All right, so let me go in and show you a couple more. So let's say we're going to put in 2012 unemployment rates by state. It's not hard to find commonly used data. You know, there's a lot of data out there, so I think you will. Oh, and look what I see over here. I already see something on collective bargaining, which is unionized, so I'm gonna save that. But all right, now in this case, there's no such thing as annual unemployment rate data. Okay. All unemployment rate data is monthly. So I'm going to choose in this case to pull January because we're trying to predict how many businesses are started that year. So it seems like kind of how unemployment is in the beginning of the year would matter. Now, this is an example of just a research decision that you have to make. You need to explain this. If you have to do something like this in your paper, you need to explain what you did. Okay, so I'm going to come in and type in these unemployment rates. So Alabama was 7.8. Now, notice something. When I do percentages, I do them like 7.8% like this rather than 0.078. There's a reason for that. I will explain it more in the next few weeks, but just for now, know that you need to put in percents in is like 7.8. Okay, 7.2, 8.7. This is a PDF, so I'm having to just put them in. Sometimes that happens. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to take that much time because I only have 50. Make sure to skip DC. Oops. Okay, I'm not going to continue doing this, but you get the idea, right? You would put all your unemployment rates in. Okay? All right. Now, what's next? I want to know percent of people with a bachelor's degree. All right. Well, let me see this first of all. Okay, so this doesn't have the data I want. I want to see right to work states 2012. Right to work means they don't allow unions. Sorry, I don't want to use Wikipedia. Okay, here we go. So these are the right to work states, including South Carolina. And some of these are brand new. You'll see Michigan was new in 2012, Wisconsin 2015. We're doing a 2012 data set, right? So we don't want to include Wisconsin as right to work. So here's how you do this, okay? In this case, we are using a 0-1 variable, okay? You can do something like if it's yes, no, male, female, up, down, whatever. You can characterize those as being 0-1 variables. These are called dummy variables. By the end of the summer, you will know what that means. For now, you just need to know that you must use 0-1. It cannot be 1-2. It can't be 2-3, 1-5, whatever. It must be 0-1. Almost all states in the United States do, or not almost all, but the majority allow unions. So I'm going to put it in there as, as ones, because I'm going to have one mean yes. And then I'm going to change the ones that are actually no's. So which states is it? Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas. I'm going to put this. I have two screens at my house. You can't see the other one, but I can. So let's see here. Alabama, Arizona, and Arkansas need to be zeros. Alabama, Arizona, not California. Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho. Indiana was changed in 2012, so we have to make an editorial decision here, a research decision, and I am going to include that as a right to work state, so no unions in Indiana. Iowa, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi. Michigan also is 2012. Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, North Dakota. Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia. Not going to count Wisconsin because that's new. And Wyoming. Okay? So this is one of our variables, whether or not a state is unionized. These dummy variables can be very helpful in analyses, and I highly encourage you to use them if you have a paper topic where it's reasonable to do so. Okay. So I also need state GSP 2012. Here it says they call it GDP by state. It's the same thing. I want the actual data, not this. Here we go, over here. Interactive tables, maybe. So I want GDP by state in current dollars. And I want it for all industry. I want the all industry total. This is where you could select, if you just wanted fabricated metal products, you could get that, but I want all of it. And then I want all states. Oops. Except for a few things, right? I don't want DC. Puerto Rico might be in here. Let's see. Nope, we should be good otherwise, it looks like. Okay. And I want it for 2012, right? And here it is. Okay, quite frequently you can then, and you can do this here, see over here on the right where it says download, you can click download and turn it into an Excel file. so that all we have to do is select the data, Control Copy, close out of that one, and put it in here. Okay. And then the last we want is educational attainment by state. And we want it for 2012. Educational attainment, 25 years over by selected characteristics. I'm not sure this is going to be by state, but let's look. Nope. I need state data. I'll go back to my internet search. Sometimes you don't get exactly what you need. Let's see here. That's not what I needed either. So for this, I'm having a bit of a hard time finding state, but we're going to find it. There's data all over the internet, and as long as it's like a legitimate source, you'll be fine. Kids count data is really good. Let's see here. This might be what we need. Let's see, data topics, education. Over here, I want it by state. Now we have to decide exactly what data we want. It looks like there's several different things. Maybe we want the educational attainment of working people. Let's see what this looks like. Perfect. Okay, so this data is good. It's going to be a little hard to, it has the percent, right, of each, like in Alaska, 18% have a bachelor's degree. If you look at bachelor's degree or higher, it would be bachelor's plus graduate, right? So let's see if we can download this. Here we go. Up here, raw data. I can open that with Excel. And we're going to do something really similar to what we did before. We are going to, you can use the titles this time. So, oh goodness, we don't need 2000. We want 2012. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is delete everything but 2012. It's a lot more data than we need. Sometimes the data you get is in great, like as we've seen here. Sometimes it's in the perfect way, which you can just like copy it, paste it. Sometimes you have to manipulate it a little bit, but it's not so bad. You know, if you ever get frustrated with this part, please let me know. This is what I do quite often as part of my job, and so it's definitely something I'm not worried about. Okay, so here's something that's interesting. It was available like every year, and now it jumps from 2008 to 2013. So let's say in this case I decide, you know what, 2013 is the best I can do. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to make sure. Oh, there's 2009 right there. Well, let's see. It may be hiding under here. But anyway, if that's something you have to do, you just need to make sure that you admit it, okay? That you just say, look, this was the best I could do because, you know, it wasn't available the other years. Although I think in this case it is going to be. It was just in some very odd order. Okay, pretty much everything we have left is 2012. We got these 2013s out of here. All right. Now all I have left is 2012. Ooh, should be. Okay. Yep. And I am going to select all the data. And I am going to sort data, sort. I'm going to sort by education, first of all. Because I don't need any of these, not a high school graduate, high school diploma. I do want graduate degree, right? Because I want a bachelor's degree or higher. So I'm going to delete those out. This is called cleaning the data, by the way, just getting rid of what you don't need. We don't want associate's degree. Okay, I just noticed one thing. We have in here for everything there's a number and a percent. We just want the percent, so let's go back again. Select this, data, sort, and we're going to sort by data format. And now I'm going to get rid of all the ones that say number. Hopefully now everything I have is percent. Yep. Okay. Almost there. So now we have graduate's degree, bachelor's degree, but we still have some associate's degrees, so I'm going to delete out the associate's degrees. For some reason these aren't in alphabetical order. So we need to sort by state anyway. We're going to go to data, sort, and we're going to sort by location. Okay, so here's what I want to do. For each state, right now we have 2 observations. We want to turn this into 1 observation. And also the other thing I don't like is this is in the 0.16. Remember I said for like 16% we want to have 16.0, for example. So I'm going to create a formula here where I'm going to make this. So for Alabama, it's going to be the percent with a bachelor's degree plus percent with a graduate degree. And then I'm also going to multiply that by, I'll put those in parentheses. And I'm going to multiply it by 100 to get it in that format that we want it in, okay? And I'm going to do this for each state. Now, we should be able to, I think, be able to copy this down. No, it didn't work. I was hoping it was going to skip it automatically. Okay. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to highlight here. Yep, there we go. Good. So this is perfect. Okay. I am going to copy these. I don't know if you guys have ever done some of this stuff, but this is how I do it. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go to paste special, and then here I'm going to put in values. And the reason I'm going to do that is that this is a formula and I want to get rid of the formula. Okay, I want to be able to delete these. So now I have my data like this, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to sort, no, data sort. Oops. And I'm going to sort by this right-hand column, which is percent bachelor's degree. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want to get rid, first of all, I don't want District of Columbia, so I'm going to take that one out too. We'll talk about why I don't like to use DC. We'll talk about that more in class, but it's basically because it's commonly an outlier. It just acts differently. All right, now these aren't in alphabetical order, so I'm going to back to data sort it by location, and now I have my data. Now, I realize probably watching that was very painful and boring, but if you really think about the amount of time it works, I mean, since I've been on here, it's been 35 minutes since I started the video, and that's not actually bad at all. So I've got that data in now here. Okay, so this shows you hopefully, oh, do you see something? I see a problem. We have 2 more observations than we have states. I did something wrong. Expect errors, you know. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time. I'm making errors. You'll have some too. I got rid of Puerto Rico. Must be in here. Yep, Puerto Rico's here, and something else. Let's see what. United States. See that? Now let's try it. Perfect. Okay, so this would be my data set for my paper, okay? And once you get this put together, remember you need 1 dependent variable. Here for me it's business starts, and then you need 4 at least independent variables. And once you have this, you will be ready to run your analysis, okay? If you have any questions about this, please, please, please let me know. At this point, you should know your topic. You should be working on your literature review, and you should be moving forward with collecting your data, okay? Thanks a lot. Bye.